Hey guys, today we're doing a short video showing how to make use of the data ins in Utopia. The data in is an area where you can set up the parameters for receiving data coming into Utopia from either outside sources or internally. Without further ado, let's just get straight into it. On the left hand side of my screen you can see I have the integration hub, and on the right hand side I have the transactions page. On the integration hub, you should be able to see the data in, the data transform, and the data out. At the data in, you should be able to see a plus icon at the top. Let's click on that, and this should bring us to a new data in. Let's just give it a name and call it demo data in. Let's just click that maintenance switch off, and let's save this data in. As you can see, we have just created a data in, but it isn't active as yet. We will need to go to the inactive section of the data in, click on it, edit, and then turn on the active switch, and then save the data in, and now you can see our data in is now active. Okay, now let's go back to our data in. Let's click on edit, and as you can see, we have a switch here called ignore duplicates. The ignore duplicates, how it works is essentially Utopia saves a hash of each document, which is essentially a short encryption of each document, which allows it to recognize documents coming in that might be exactly the same. So if the switch is selected to be ignore duplicates yes, Utopia will compare the hash of each incoming doc with the hashes of all documents already in the collection. If one exists, it will not save it in the collection. If the switch is selected to no, then Utopia will save the document regardless of its content. Okay, so we're going to go back into our data in. You can see we have set ignore duplicates to true, and we have saved. Now let's just drop in an input doc. Let's post, upload a file. I do have a test file ready with only one line in it. Document was posted. We can just click on the data in and select create transform. This will allow us to view the doc that was just posted. And as we can see here, this is the doc that we just dropped into the system. This is the hash or short encryption that we were talking about that it creates for each document. Now we can proceed to test the ignore duplicates by posting the same document once more and click upload file. Then we can select the same doc with the one line, click on open, and click on upload. And as we can see, if we click on create transform to see the docs into the system, the doc did not get posted again. And we can test if this is working correctly by going back into the data in, clicking on edit, turning off ignore duplicates, and saving. Then we can post the document once more and click on data ID. Click on open, and then we can upload this. And if we go to the data and create transform once more to view the docs in that collection, we will see that there are two, and you can see the ignore duplicates are not working because they are exactly the same, and you can compare the hash of both docs. That's the doc that we just posted, and this was the doc that we posted a minute ago. Okay, let's take you through another one of the parameters that we can set up in the data in. Let's click on edit. Let's select to generate transactions, and let's click on save. And then let's post in this doc once more. And as you know, we have turned off the ignore duplicates, and let's click on upload. As you can see, it says document posted. We can just refresh the transaction page on the right, and you can see the doc has come through. Notice how the first two docs that we posted when testing the ignore duplicates did not show up on the transaction page, and that is because the generate transactions switch was off. Let's continue. Let's click on edit in our data in. This switch that we see here, maintenance is can be set to either yes or no. In certain Utopia instances, there are maintenance tasks that run. These will clean out the docs which are older than the specified time. If yes, the maintenance will be performed on the collection. If they are selected to no, maintenance will not be performed. Please note that in a case where you are using the data in as a mapping collection, and it's something that the collection where all the documents need to stay in that collection at all times and not be cleared out, that is when you would not turn maintenance off. In a case where you'd want docs to be cleared out, let's say every 2 months, then you would select the maintenance to yes. Okay, so let's move on. Let's just clear out the docs in this collection so that we may proceed. And we can go to our data in, click on edit, and you can see here we have two fields, one called a batch field and one called the identifier field. The batch field is basically a field name. You can identify a doc coming through. If a doc like an Excel doc or a CSV, XLSX or XLS, a doc can be posted into the system, but they will have multiple lines. But if you want each line to come through as a single doc as per an array, you could use this to help with that. So let's just leave the batch field blank for now, and then we can click on post document, and let's upload a file, test data in. We have a few lines on this doc. Let's post that in. And if we look on the transactions page, do we still have this enabled? Let's check. Yes, we do. We can just refresh this and you can see the doc came through. On the transaction page, we can actually view the doc by clicking on the gear icon and clicking view. And as you can see, we dropped in a Excel file and it had multiple lines in it, so it all got saved as one doc. But if we had to go into our data in and on our batch field add item, and let's click save, and then let's post the same doc in once more. As you can see, it's the same doc. Let's click on open and let's click on upload. As you can see, it says document has been posted. Let's just refresh the transactions page, and as you can see, we just refreshed the transaction page. The doc has been posted into the system, and as you can see here, it says 5, and that means instead of the doc coming through as the first doc that we posted as one array with 5 items, we have 5 individual docs. And as you can see, there's one line, and let's click on the next one. We can see the next line, line number 2. So that is how we would make use of the batch field. So let's go back into our data in. Let's click on edit, and below the batch field we have another field called the identifier field. The identifier field can be set in this field. This will essentially work in conjunction with the allow replacing documents here at the top. One can assign multiple identifiers. You can just click on the plus and you can have multiple identifiers for this data in. The reason you may do this, because let's just say you have you're pushing in an Excel document. It has the same identifier field that you would use. Let's say you would use the customer's PO number, but you know that there will be multiple lines for an order, so you would put the customer PO number and you will put the line number there so that it wouldn't cause any issues. So let's just give this a try with our test document. Let's add an identifier field and let's call it customer PO number. So we will go customer PO number. Please note that this field needs to exist in your input doc. If this field does not exist, when the doc comes into the system, it will mark the doc off as invalid because it does not meet the requirements being the identifier field. And let's add one more, and item dot line number. If you need to know why the item is here, remember, if we are posting in a document into the system and it needs to be broken up into multiple documents, we are using the item to break up a array into multiple documents. So we would need to use the item with the customer PO number so that it recognizes each field in each document. Let's click on save, and let's go back to our data in and let's click allow replacing documents. The allow replacing documents, this switch, as I've explained earlier, works in conjunction with the identifier field. If the document has the identifier field and it matches the field in the incoming doc in the collection, it will overwrite this doc. If the allow replacing documents is off and a document comes into the system with the same identifier, it will mark it as invalid and it will not let it into the system. So let's just go through our settings once more. We have added our batch field, our identifier fields, and we have enabled allow replacing documents. Now let's post in an input doc and we will use our test data. Because of the batch field, this will be broken up into 5 individual documents, and let's upload this. We've just refreshed the transactions page. You can see the doc has come through. There is 5 docs. Let's create transform and we can view the docs. Notice how on the transaction page we have 5 docs, yet when we have created a transform of the data in, there's only 4 docs. And the reason for that, as we can see over here, that there are 5 docs, but the first doc and the last doc have the exact same item identifier, which is the customer PO number, and the same line number. So that recognizes that the system recognizes that it is essentially the same doc and it doesn't allow it into the system, and it only keeps 1. But we can test this by editing the data in, turning off the allow replacing documents, click save, and we can post in the same doc, and you can watch what happens. It's the same doc, 5 lines. Let's click on upload, and as you can see, the document has been posted. Let's refresh the transactions page. We've just refreshed the transactions page, and as you can see, we have 5 invalids, and it was all 5 of the docs. And when we click on the invalid, we can see it comes up with 2 messages. There's already a doc with key, that would be the PO number. There's already a doc with key 1. So because these docs are already in the system and allow replacing documents have been turned off, these docs are now marked as invalid. Hope you guys enjoyed that small demo of a few of the data in parameters. We will have a few videos coming through soon in detail of how the other functions of the data in work. Thanks guys.